Now, this video looks like chaos, but by the end of it, you understand exactly who caused it and why regular Americans are saying enough is enough. I want you to watch this closely because this is where things go wrong.
Oh my God, drag him back. Go back. Back to the sidewalk. Go back. Let's get back to the sidewalk. Hold on, I'll help you up. I'll help you up. Back up.
So obvious context here. Federal agents clash with protesters outside of a Minneapolis federal building. You're seeing smoke, arrests being made, people dragged across the street, all type of chaos.
Get back! Get back! Get back! Get back! Ice, go home! Leave it alone! Hey, leave her alone! Leave, motherfucker! Yo, now keep doing it! Let him in! Sit down! Sit down!
This doesn't look like a protest. It looks like a breakdown, if you ask me. Now, I want you to notice something. This didn't start calm and suddenly got intense, right? That ain't what happened. This started with people testing authority and finding the limit of that, FAFO. Now, here's the part they don't want you to slow down and understand.
When you put armed officers in a situation where they start fearing for their lives, you might get shot. That's one of the most basic realities to understand. It may hurt your feelings, but this is just the truth. Now, let me be clear. I don't celebrate situations like this. A woman lost her life, and yes, that's tragic, but we still need to talk about choices. For those of you who are saying, oh, she didn't have a choice, she was just shot in broad daylight, couldn't do anything, she was a victim, she wasn't doing anything wrong. Well, she did have choices. She didn't have to be there. She didn't have to stop ICE agents from doing their jobs. She didn't have to block ICE vehicles, and she certainly didn't have to use her car as a weapon and drive toward an officer. Multiple people have said that she was leading those protests. She was actively blocking ICE vehicles, not just at that moment, but on multiple occasions. At some point, it becomes fuck around and find out. I knew something like this would happen sooner or later because some way, somehow, some people think that they can physically stop ICE agents from doing their jobs, from enforcing US laws, and nothing's gonna happen. Well, ICE had every legal right to be there. And the mayor of Minneapolis is going to try and tell ICE to get the fuck out of there. They're not welcome. But what about the illegal immigrants who are there that do not have the right to be there and still are being protected by people like the mayor of Minneapolis, Jacob Frey? You don't get to ignore the law when it doesn't fit your narrative, provoke armed officers, and then act shocked when things turn deadly. It doesn't work that way. This is my take on what happened today.
Now, this is where reality clearly just entered the chat. Now, this is explaining the Renee Good shooting that took place with ICE emphasizing accountability and choices. You know, a woman lost a life. That's tragic. Full stop on that. But tragedy doesn't erase cause and effect. When armed officers believe they're in danger, this is not a philosophy debate. It's physics. And instead of calming things down, some leaders decided to light the match.
And so it is not helpful for us to have ICE agents unlawfully just carrying out these ridiculous raids that are not resulting in any sort of arrests, that have no explanation of why they are there. They are disturbing peaceful communities that are just trying to live out their lives. And I join our mayor and our senator in asking them to get the heck out of our city. And so it is not helpful.
Get the heck out of our city. Did y'all catch that? This right here, that's not leadership at all. Ilhan tells ICE to get the heck out of our city. Telling people federal law doesn't apply there. Like, what are you talking about? And once you say that out loud, you don't get to act surprised when people start acting reckless. You don't. Because words don't disappear once you say them. Unfortunately, they travel.
Just like with George Floyd. We gonna tear this motherfucker up. That's what the fuck has to happen. Does anybody know why we're given the Second Amendment right? Google it. It's to protect ourselves from a tyrannical government. That's true. The police are supposed to be on our side, fighting, pointing their guns at the fucking government. It's the facts. It's not for hunting. It's not for self-defense. It's to protect ourselves from a tyrannical government. It don't get no worse than this. It don't.
Yep.
What the fuck?
I know that's right.
What the fuck? I have a little baby. I have a little fucking baby, man. And it's like I had to adopt her to protect her from this shit. You put a baby to my gun's head, you put a gun to my baby's head, I'm gonna hurt somebody. That's what they're doing to us. I'm not Hispanic, I'm black. I just be sitting home, smoking my weed, enjoying my money. But I'll die about this shit. I don't have no quality of life left. And if you think you do, you're fucking nuts. We don't have no quality of life left. My wife is a documented, she has her work permit, it's legit. She won't go to work because they'll take her still. They're taking people that have documents. They're taking kids. They're doing all, you guys, this is where the world ends. There's nothing left. There's nothing left. They go snatch the president of Venezuela, but our fucking president is a sex offender. Yeah. Why are we not at the White House dragging him out? Why his fucking collar? That's where we gotta go, you guys, the White House. This is only gonna go so far. This is bullshit. This is bullshit, you guys. This is bullshit. You can just abort a baby.
So this is a protester attempting to invoke somewhat of a George Floyd riot and the Second Amendment against the government. Okay, liberal man says he's ready to tear Minneapolis down like they did over George Floyd. I wanted to make sure I give y'all the full context because this is where the rhetoric ends up. This is exactly where it ends up. This isn't activism, excuse me. This is permission. For sure. When you tell people the system is evil all the time and illegitimate and tyrannical, you keep saying that long enough, eventually someone decides violence is reasonable. Now, I want you to watch how Minneapolis leadership responded to this.
And Mr. Mayor, after you told ICE to get the F out of the city, I've seen a lot of Republicans here in Washington criticizing those comments, saying that you're escalating tensions with that. Can you respond to them, and what do you say to them tonight, people who criticize those comments?
I'm so sorry if I offended their Disney princess ears, but here's the thing. If we're talking about what's inflammatory, on the one hand, you got someone who dropped an F-bomb, and on the other hand, you got someone who killed somebody else. F-bomb, killing somebody. I think the more inflammatory action is killing somebody. And so, once again, let's be real and just honest and straight up about what's happening here. This is not okay. The way they're coming into cities, not just Minneapolis, but around the country, is not okay. Whether you're a Democrat or a Republican, you should understand the importance of constitutional law enforcement. You should understand the importance of not discriminating based on race and randomly plucking people off the street because they're Somali or Latino. And especially from what we've seen, you should also understand the importance of de-escalating tense situations, not killing people and yanking out a gun. And so, again, I'm not going to preempt the investigation. It is important that we do that. And at the same time, you know, you want to make a big deal about an F-bomb, let's make a big deal about our Constitution. I think that's probably the better route.
Disney princess ears, he says. I was just surprised because I know Disney is a leftist thing. However, this isn't about that right now. You know, that tone right there tells you everything. Obviously, people are angry. You know, a woman is dead. You know, the city is on edge. But it's definitely because of the rhetoric that's been spewed to them. And the mayor's response to all of this is sarcasm. I'm telling y'all, that's not confidence at all. That's someone who's lost control of the room.
What strikes me is, first of all, it's extremely sad and unfortunate that someone died. I mean, the political fighting and disagreements aside, it's terrible. You know, you don't want people to die in law enforcement situations or otherwise. But it strikes me that we are undergoing an epidemic of political vigilantism right now. Why are people showing up in vehicles, in convoys, not just in Minneapolis, but all over the country in an effort to obstruct lawful federal law enforcement activities? This is not an isolated incident. We have had hundreds of car rammings against ICE agents all over the country. According to DHS, this lady in this car today, along with other vehicles, had been tracking ICE agents around. Why are people believing that they can drive their car into a federal law enforcement situation and that is an appropriate thing to do? I understand they don't like the fact that these agents are enforcing existing immigration law, but that's not how we change laws in this country. If you don't like a law, you talk to the politicians. You don't drive your car into the middle of a building or a law enforcement situation that's being occupied by the people who are simply there to enforce the law. If I don't like how much the IRS is charging me in taxes, I don't drive my car into the Treasury Department and try to run somebody over. I call my congressman. Political vigilantism is being encouraged by Democratic officials like the Lieutenant Governor of Minnesota, Peggy Flanagan, who earlier this year told people to, quote, put your bodies on the line, and Tim Walz calling these guys Gestapo all year. What do you think happens when you radicalize a base of people about this?
Exactly. This is what adults sound like right here. You don't drive into the Treasury Department because you hate taxes. You know what I'm saying? You don't drive into ICE because you hate immigration enforcement. That's not protest. That's quite literally a felony. And pretending otherwise literally gets you hurt.
When did it become illegal to follow ICE agents around?
It's illegal to engage in obstruction of federal law enforcement. Is it not? Is it a felony?
But they're not impeding.
It is a felony.
She was filming, right? She's filming them because ICE agents have been known to kill people, because people are disappearing in custody, because we're missing 1,200 people in Alligator Alcatraz.
This is the political vigilantism.
This is not political vigilantism.
You're encouraging people to interfere with federal law enforcement.
I'm saying that we need to get it on tape because the DHS is lying, because ICE is lying, and because people are getting hurt.
I think that
and they're disappearing.
There is obviously
Amnesty International just did an entire thing on ICE.
But hold on,
Amnesty International. That's not me being a Democrat.
Difference between.
When did it become illegal?
CNN, they're over here debating whether ICE agents or following ICE agents is obstruction. This is how chaos gets normalized. Instead of asking, should this stop? They ask, is this technically illegal yet? That's not journalism, man. That's excuse making, if you ask me. But enough of those.
As a lifelong Minneapolis resident, I just want to come on here and say, I'm sorry. I am so sorry that everyone in my state is so retarded. I'm exhausted of it too. How do you think the rest of us here feel? Believe it or not, most of us here in Minnesota aren't psychotic liberals. We just want our state back. We just want the state and the city of Minneapolis and the Twin Cities that we knew and loved growing up. We just want that back. But these absolutely insane liberals, these communists, they are literally communists, have taken over everything. Do you know how embarrassing it is to say that I am from Minneapolis? Because the only time that Minneapolis is ever in the news is because of something awful. Whether it was COVID snitch lines or the George Floyd riots or that incident that happened at the Catholic school, obviously the Somalian fraudster, and now of course the incident with ICE. I am ashamed to be from here. I am ashamed, okay? Especially because it didn't always used to be this way. So I am actually coming on here and begging. I am begging for prayers at this point for my hometown. I'm so tired, y'all. We are so tired. Please pray for us. I got out of Minneapolis just at the right time because I had moved back here after living in Boston for a little bit, and I bought a home in North Minneapolis. And last year when Omar Fateh started running and my property taxes went up 10%, I saw the writing on the wall and I knew that I had to leave. Obviously, there was a lot more that came into consideration besides just those two things. Those were kind of like the tip of the iceberg. A lot of crime. A lot of crime happening. Amongst other things like essential resources just not happening. We live in Minnesota. It's a very snowy state, and the streets in my neighborhood sometimes weren't getting plowed for 2 days. All of this just horrible stuff was happening while I was living downtown, and of course I was paying just ungodly amounts in taxes. So I felt pushed out. So I had to move to the suburbs, and we sold our house. I loved that house. I loved where I lived. That was my first house. I didn't want to leave, but I felt forced to. And thank God I did, because we got out at the right time. It's about to get really ugly here, so again, please, you guys, pray for us here. I swear we are not all as retarded as the Somalians and liberals here.
Minnesota woman apologizes to the country, says the residents just want their state back. This is the voice that they're going to ignore. Not politicians, not activists, not social media. Regular people who didn't ask for riots. They didn't ask for lawlessness and didn't ask to be embarrassed on the national stage. They just want their state back.
We're talking about Iman Osman. He's the Lewiston City Councilor-elect. He's being charged with 1 count of receiving stolen property and 1 count of theft by unauthorized taking of a firearm. Now, Lewiston City Mayor Carl Shaleen did call on Osman to step down and not take this position, but his attorneys tell us that Osman still plans to serve on the city council. The council will go into executive session to consider the request by the previous council to investigate his qualifications for the job. This is according to the city council agenda. The council will also consider a resolution to retain an independent investigator to prepare a report on facts related to Osman's qualifications. This is also outlined in the city's agenda for tonight. Osman is also under scrutiny about his legal address. It's listed as 210 Blake Street, but that building was condemned back in 2024 due to a drug raid. Now, Osman has not made it public at this current moment where he's living right now.
Wow. And this is exactly why people don't trust the system right here. Somali official sworn in despite charges, then resigns days later. Rules for some, excuses for others. This isn't about race. This is not about background. It's about standards. And when standards disappear, obviously, stability does too. Well, what you just watched wasn't one bad moment. It wasn't one bad decision. And it definitely wasn't an accident. This is what unfortunately happens when leaders spend years teaching people that law enforcement is the enemy. that rules are optional and that feelings matter more than these consequences. At some point, rhetoric stops being, rhetorical and turns into behavior. You saw the streets, you saw the threats. I mean, you watched it get excused on CNN, on live TV. And then when reality finally showed up, everybody acted shocked. A woman lost her life. That is tragic. And nothing about acknowledging cause and effect takes away from that. But pretending choices don't matter doesn't make us compassionate. It makes us dishonest, because a society that refuses to draw a line, eventually it erases them. And once the lines are gone, nobody knows where to stop. Not the protesters, not the politicians, not the media. The quiet truth is most people aren't asking for chaos. They're not asking for crackdowns or excuses. They're asking for standards, for adults to actually be in a room, and a system that applies to everyone, or it applies to no one. When those standards disappear, trust disappears with them. I tell you all the time, this isn't left versus right anymore. It's order versus collapse. And people are done pretending they're not seeing the difference. So if you made it to the end of this video, I want you to write cause and effect. Not for the algorithm, but for me. Just so I know who made it to the end, who really stuck through. Y'all be safe. Go check on a friend today. You can quite literally be saving their life. Peace.